Hey, this is Alex Mount for Destiny,
I'm Phil from Fit Will Exposed.
and today we have the great pleasure of interviewing Mike the Machine Bruce, who is formerly known as having the strongest neck in the world. So, Mike, we have a couple questions to ask you. I know that for you, you definitely inspired me with my neck training. I used to have a pencil neck, 14 and a half inches, and I started following your advice, and it took me up to 19 flexed. And a lot of the movements you showed are very unique, and your training style, I know you do a lot of special strongman exercises and bending, and you've done a lot of crazy feats of strength, and we want to analyze all that today. So I'm very honored to be speaking with you today, and I look forward to this discussion.
Yeah, I actually told Alpha about you, and like
Okay.
I've been training my neck maybe about not as long as you, maybe 2.5 to 2 years. Maybe only started taking it seriously after like maybe a year,
Yes.
but definitely got it up. I think I started at like 14, 15. Now it's like I don't know the measurement, but it's like it's up there. And
Nice. Well, I'm flattered anytime if any of my training has inspired anybody. It always flatters me to
no, definitely, yeah,
anything I can do to help people.
Of
definitely, yeah.
course.
Like people look at me like I'm crazy when I talk about neck training. I post, that's like all I post on my site. I talk a lot about it. I'm really pushing, I'm really trying to talk about like some unconventional training methods.
Well,
And like
picture back in the '90s, because I'm older, of course. I'm almost 42. So picture in the '90s, I'm on the bench doing neck curls, in the commercial gym.
crazy, yeah.
Luckily, my best friend owned it at the time, but still, people looked at me like I was foolish.
Of course, and that's what's crazy because the neck is one of the most important areas for looking more impressive and, of course, being important for athletic performance. Yet, when you see guys doing neck curls, people look at you very weirdly, which is a strange phenomenon if you ask me, because no one looks at crunches weird. But when we talk about the neck, it's like it's so underrated. So, Mike,
Yeah,
obviously, I mean, we know about your story and stuff, but we want to know the viewers in particular, what got you started off with neck training? What
yeah, yeah.
inspired you in particular?
Well, I started amateur wrestling when I was 13. And my grandfather was actually a pro wrestler in the 30s and 40s, but unfortunately, I was a kid when he passed, much younger. So I was not the most technically gifted wrestler. And along with not being technically gifted, I also had an attitude. I had a big chip on my shoulder, so I didn't really have much. I didn't have the success many thought I would until much later on, after I got the Marine Corps and things like that, because of my you have your head somewhere else. Sometimes it affects you on the mat. So, anyways, I was getting dominated. I was getting pulled around. I had these big goofy ears, like I still have. And these guys would just dominate me by my little pencil neck. So one day after practice, I was always in tip-top shape even then. And the coaches said, you need to work your neck. If you have a strong neck, you're not gonna get thrown around as bad. Which has to a point is true. Of course, if you're talking about weight classes. Now, if you have a guy bigger than you and you're lighter, of
Yeah,
course, he's
yeah.
going to move you easier, right? That's just
Hmm.
physics, right? But so that's when I started. So then at that time, I started training my neck. Every day I was in a gym, which was usually 5 days a week, sometimes six.
Hmm.
And that's what started it.
Hmm.
That's right. And I've heard you talk about how wherever the head follows, the neck
Yeah, yeah.
comes with it as well, something like
I
that.
don't know. Wherever the head goes, the body follows.
Okay, that's right.
That's
Good
the old
point.
wrestling thing because when a guy grabs you and controls you by your head, your body's going to go. So if you have a strong neck, you keep your head up. The chances of a guy pulling you down and smash you down is you lessens his chances.
Yeah. And just curious for the viewers, obviously, what is your current neck measurement and what was its biggest size?
The biggest I've had my neck, I was 21 inches, and I was 215. Right now, I'm down. I'm kind of cutting. I'm about 206, but I still have 20-inch neck pumped. About 19 right now, not as we do this, not pumped.
Yeah, yeah.
When you
Sometimes a little
say
more.
when you say 21, do you mean unflexed? Like you wake up in the
No,
morning, you just
that
like,
was flexed. That was flexed.
but what's unflexed though? Like at your
Um,
peak?
at my peak, I really don't know. I'm guessing maybe 19. I never really had it measured when I was at not flexed.
Okay.
Okay.
And in terms of the routine that you followed when you first began, can you just outline that real quick for people that are new to neck training? Because there's a lot of them, they want to get started, but there's a lot of people giving misinformation and they don't
Hmm.
know how to get started. Like they want to do wrestler bridges and all types of advanced movements, but they just don't have the foundation to do so. So what would you recommend to a beginner who is new to neck training?
So do you want me to start from what I did and then go to what I
Yeah, of
said?
course, because I'm assuming that you would recommend something similar.
Well, it depends. See, because back then, I was doing such high volume. Even then, people said that I was crazy for what I was doing. So my first, neck product came out in 2006. TNT Neck Training was the first,
Yeah.
DVD I had out, and that sold all over the world, which was a blessing. But what I did was I looked at it. Um, I would train my neck for the duration of a wrestling match. I got that idea from Marvelous Marvin Hagler, the famous middleweight boxing champion. Everything he did was in 3-minute increments, whether it was calisthenics, what have you, right? He would do 3-minute rounds. So I would work my neck, and I found that within the time that I would do it, I could get out almost 100 reps. So based off that, I said, okay, I'm going to do 100 reps of everything. So I started, because a lot of times I would stay after practice. Even though I wasn't a great wrestler at the time, I'd stay after practice. I'd train and train, or I'd get to practice early. So I started off 13 years old. I was about probably $150. So I think I had a 5 or 10 pound plate put on my head. I'd do neck curls, 100 reps. Then I would do, I found a neck harness, so I would do the back of my neck, and then I'd put a plate on the side of my head, do the side of my head. And I would try 100 reps each way. Eventually, as I got older, after I got out of the Marine Corps, now we're talking in 1997, then I started increasing it from 100 reps to 3 sets of 100 each direction. So you're talking 300 to the front, 300 in the rear, and 300 on the sides. Great. And I did that 5 days a week, increased my calories, and my prime fighting weight, submission wrestling weight, was 198, and I had a 20-inch neck.
Wow.
So that's what worked for me. And I'm not saying, now, a lot of people, as you guys know with your channel, you have all these supposed experts or just mean people that want to flap their gums and run their mouth saying, oh, you're going too fast, you're going to hurt your neck, blah, 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 blah. I've never had an injury. Now, I've had normal zingers where you might go jam your neck. It's called a zinger, right? It goes down your trap.
Yeah.
But I've never hurt myself. So you got to remember, for all the new people, that I trained my neck to match what I would face on the mat.
Okay.
So I wasn't going for like a bodybuilding person, like nice and slow. That has its place. So to answer your second question, for a beginner, if you're a wrestler, I think you should train, or a MMA guy, or any kind of combat athlete.
Yeah.
You know, I think you should train to match what you're going to face on the mat or the ring or the cage, right?
Yeah.
So high volume. Now, if you're just going for size and aesthetics, for a beginner, I would say, maybe 3 sets, 20 reps, or 3 sets of 25 reps, nice and slow, and flex whatever direction you're working. Because that all has its place. It just depends on what works for you. My success rate with everyone that's ever purchased, TNT or listened to anything I've said, they've all had very good results. But it depends on the person.
Yeah, and I know that you mentioned fighting very briefly. So can you talk about the importance of neck training for fighters in particular, or wrestlers? Because it's common sense there, but just for the viewers to understand this a bit more.
Well, I don't know if you can actually, some people are born with a good chin. I don't like getting hit, so I was a much better grappler than I was throwing hands.
Yeah.
But I still believe 100% if you have a strong neck, it's gonna help impact when you take a shot to your head, especially with concussions. So football, hockey, any kind of combative stuff. So, of course, another thing with strong neck, if you can keep your chin pinned when someone's trying to choke you, obviously, once a guy gets a choke, I've been choked out before.
Yeah.
And again, I wasn't the best. I was a 5-time submission wrestling champion, but I was never said I was the best. Of course, on the regional scene in New England, where I'm from, I live in Kentucky now, but back when I used to compete all throughout Connecticut, Rhode Island, 5-time champion is not too shabby, But anyway, if someone gets a choke, you're done, right? Unless you can get a finger in there and breathe. So why not increase your chances of not getting choked out by building your neck up? That's one reason. Second, again, like I said, where the head goes, the body follows. So if you can resist and keep your neck strong from a man controlling you in a clinch, better for you as well. Now, as far as punching goes, you either have a good chin or you're not. I don't really know. I guess I don't like to get hit, but I would think having a strong neck, because a great boxing contender, George Tuvallo, back in the 70s, who fought Ali, he always thought about his strong neck. He would chew a big wad of bubble gum, work his neck, and that he contributes that to having a good chin. I don't know. I think some people are just born with that.
Okay. And I'm also curious, for neck training, do you believe that if you're a fighter or wrestler, you should be doing more bodyweight movements, like advanced bridging variations, or do you believe that standard neck curls, neck extensions would be better? Because I know you talked about specificity of training before with the 3-minute intervals.
Or a mixture of both.
Like, yeah, do you think it's better to do like weighted bridges and stuff like that, or just straight weight training for the neck?
Well, on my channel, I've got all sorts of different things I've done over the years, different kind of bridging exercises. Of course, in amateur wrestling and in judo as well, they always teach you how to bridge, mainly because you don't want to get pinned. So if you bridge, you can counter the guy, maybe roll him over, keep your shoulders off the mat, right? I think though for wrestling, yes, bridges have their place, but I think for fighting, I think you should do a lot more with weight. Because you're not going to use a bridge necessarily in MMA
Yeah.
For what? You know, some people like to play off their back, not me. I'm a much better top man than I am on the bottom. I don't play the guard. Well, when I used to compete, I didn't play the guard game. I'd escape and try to go to side control or cross body. So I would stick with more weights than body weight. Of course, you want to do a lot of clinch drills with someone pulling down, doing snap downs on your head.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for that, I would say yeah, but I'd stick more to weights. You know, the neck curl, neck lift, and doing side work and rotational work.
Okay. Phil, I know you had a lot of questions to ask Mike, so I'll take it to you now because I'm hot.
Yeah, we have a lot of stuff to ask you, man.
Good. I'm happy. I hope I can help people.
Yeah.
So I have some questions that are like some popular questions that like most of like the readers, the viewers want to know, and I even have a couple of questions for like improving like neck curls and stuff like that. You know, just getting a stronger neck. Just general questions, you know. So, okay, first off, do you happen to know what the world record is for the? Remember the video where you do 200 reps with the?
Yeah, I actually did 300, but it's not on that video.
Oh
It's
yeah,
on
you
my
did 300.
TNT. Yeah.
Wow, is that the world record? Do you know?
No, I have no clue. I don't know if there is a record for that. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
But still, on my that I mean, I'm not that TNT DVD thing. I believe on there, I've got it where I do 300 with the plates. I could be wrong. I've done 300 in the past. I think I have it on the DVD.
That's crazy. How many reps did you get with 2 plates on your forehead?
With 90 pounds for on the YouTube, I did like 200.
Oh, that was 90 pounds.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Wow.
It should be 245s I'm holding. In one of the videos, I got a blue shirt on. It should be 200 reps.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and I know also you apparently have the world record for the neck extension. Like you
Yes.
did. It was what 300 pounds for a
300
double?
pounds, yeah. Unfortunately, that we have pictures of that, but there's the video when they were filming, something happened. You know, that was 2006 or 7. Unfortunately, that video got messed up, so I never even got to see the video. Because what was funny about it was, I did 3 reps with 300, and on the 3rd rep, when I went to lift up, the harness broke.
Yeah.
The weight crashed on the floor and shot me backwards off the bench. Somersault and gave me a concussion.
Yeah. Actually, I have some good questions about that because last week I was training my neck, and the harness actually snapped off. So very similar to you. So I know that you've gone through a lot of harnesses throughout the years, and right now you're currently using the neck flex, correct?
Yes.
So can you talk about the neck flex, the benefits, its durability, all those things? Because a lot of people are buying cheap harnesses, and it might be doing them a disservice.
Yes. Well, here's the thing. I always used a neck harness in the past, and I've gone through a bunch of them. Now, there's 2 that I used before I got with the neck flex. Number 1 was the Yukon Hercules strap. So now we're talking, because the neck flex doesn't use any weights. It's just band, right?
Yeah.
So the Yukon Hercules from Iron Mind, and then there was another one called Spud Inc. I don't know if that's the company, but Spud made a real good harness. I never broke it.
Okay.
So those 2, if you strictly want to use just cast iron weights with a chain, either one of those 2 would be good. If I had to pick out 2, which I think is better, I liked the Spud better only because the chain is shorter, whereas the Iron Mind doesn't necessarily have the chain. It has a long piece that comes down, then it goes across to
like a loading pin.
A loaded. There you go.
Yeah.
And then, so I liked that, but that one was more comfortable than Spud, but I thought Spud was better for what I liked.
Yeah.
Now, if you're talking what happened with Netflix, I've had a lot of companies over the years contact me to sponsor me, supplement companies and whatnot, and I'm not big on that kind of stuff. I think I don't know. I was raised. My dad was a Marine. I was a Marine. I was just raised that if you don't believe in something, don't just take it. And so Netflix contacted me. I thought it was some kind of a gimmick. So I said, how is this thing going to work with a band? They said, well, you're the reason why we invented it. So that was humbling to me because, like I told you guys at the beginning, you know, anytime somebody, if I do anything physically and somebody gets inspired or thinks, hey, man, that guy's crazy, that's a compliment, you know? So I'm flattered by that. So the company ended up being legit. They said, hey, we watched your stuff. You're the reason we wanted to do this. We had problems with normal neck harnesses. When you start going at a fast clip up and down on a neck extension, the chain, it'll buck. The plates will buck. It gives you zingers. So the neck flex, in my opinion, is the best neck harness. Now, that's all I currently use. There is an occasion I will use a 4-way neck machine I have in my gym. I have a Hammer Strength neck 4-way. I might use that occasionally if I want to change it up, only because I've done this for so many years now. You know, I was 13. I'll be 42 in 2 months, so that's a long time. So I like to change it up because as you get older and more seasoned, your body adapts. So you need to switch it up to keep the body guessing.
Mm.
So the neck flex, why I think it's best. It comes with a band. The band is rated at 19 pounds of pressure. I mean strength, sorry. Pounds of pressure to break it. Roughly 19 pounds. So you can do the rear of your neck, front of your neck. But the beauty of it is, with normal neck harnesses, you can't work your side like this. You can try to put on the side of you like the Yukon Hercules strap. They say you can work it from the side. The thing I found a problem with that is when the weight's on the side, you're going this way, the weight swings.
Mm-hmm.
And if you use your hand to hold it, subconsciously you don't think you're doing it, but your hand acts as a handle and helps you.
For sure.
As you guys know, right?
Yeah.
Neck curls, you
100%.
get tired.
Yeah.
Your hands supposed to just hold, but actually your hands are helping you, even if you don't want them to. So the neck flex, what you can do is work the size just by simply putting the bands around, attach it to a fixed object or even your hand.
Yeah,
You
that's
can
crazy.
go sideways, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the beauty with it is too, is you can work the rotation. No other neck harness that gives us that ability. What I mean by rotation is, if someone went through a hook and hooked you, your head's going to turn, right? Obviously. So the neck flex is an ability where you can watch. I have these videos on my channel
Yeah.
if you want them. You just put the band around your head through the D-rings, hold, and now you can rotate
That's
either
serious,
direction, which is going to resemble getting hit in the side of the face.
You could rotate instead of doing it.
Exactly.
There's a difference. Yeah.
Exactly,
That's
because rotation is different than sideways, right?
Yeah.
So we hit the front, the rear, the sides, and rotation. No other harness can do that. Neck flex was the first. So they approached me.
Serious.
I'm sponsored via them. I basically am their guinea pig. They came up with different variations of neck flex, and they give it to me to see if I can break it. And I haven't broke it yet.
Oh,
So
really?
no, sir.
So can you talk about its durability, basically? Like, have you ever used a straight weight on it, attach a regular chain, or you just use the bands? So do you know what the weight limit would be on a neck flex? Like, could it go
No,
above
I
300
don't
pounds?
know the specs. I'm sure the owners of the company, Tom and Zach, could say that. But I will tell you this: the neck harness itself, if you take away the band, you can attach a chain just like any other harness.
Yeah.
It is one of the most comfortable harnesses. I don't know if it's because it's the stitching they did. There's also a soft rubber material inside. But because I don't have any hair, it's very comfortable on my head. I think guys with hair, I think it would be more comfortable. It's one of the more overall. I think it's the top total package. I think.
Yeah. What I like about it too is that it goes under your chin.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is
See, I
like
don't like that because my neck's too big. Like you got the beard going on. You know what I mean? It kind of get crimpled in my neck and in your beard. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't like the strap as much, but it does. It's good because it does keep it secure. Where that's a good thing to point out is normal harnesses. If you're going, sometimes will slip off. Especially like yourself, shaved on the side of your head. And I'm bald with the strap.
Yeah.
You're strapped in, so you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, it's very uncomfortable usually with the cheap ones out there on the market. And also, I know a lot of people are asking about the tensions for the bands. I know you said it's like 19 pounds of pressure.
19 pounds, yeah.
But are you able, like, you can double them and move back, and you can get enough resistance no matter what you're.
Yeah, that's see when they first came out the other day, they had one orange band. I don't remember what this test strength was, but the problem with that band is after a while, it's kind of like a bungee band. It would start to fray. Now I never had one break. You'll have some people, again, you guys know, I'm sure, some people that just aren't nice people. They want to hate and be a bunch of knuckleheads, act like clowns. Oh, that broke the band, blah, blah, blah. But they're probably not even following directions how to use it. You know what I mean? They're probably doing some crazy shenanigans trying to see if they can break it. So the Netflix changed the band. Mm-hmm. So they have a company called Body Elastics. So it was going to come with 3 different bands, which they sent to me. One was 14 pounds of strength resistance. One was 19, which is the current one it comes with. And then one is this big, ungodly looking orange thing. Looks like a garden hose. I don't know what the pressure. I think it's like 40-something pounds, but I can't even hardly move it. So they decided that the 19-pound one was the one to work with overall for everybody, from the beginner to advanced guys like myself or you guys been working on, right? So the thing is, if you stretch the band out and go further away, obviously going to recreate more tension. It's going to be harder for you. So you can increase the difficulty no matter your skill level or not, from beginner to advanced, with just that one band.
Yeah, what I like about it too is also like you could do you're not limited to the gym, If you have the neck flex, you could train at home, or even if you're on vacation, you could easily just throw it in a bag, And it's not like it's gonna be heavy either, because you're using
that's another. I love
probably like less than 5 pounds, So it's like, what are some? I know some people may be a bit skeptical, like where to attach the bands for it to be safe, Because some people they attach certain bands, and sometimes the bands might snap back if what they're putting it on is too weak, So it's like
Yep.
I'm sure there are some variations of the neck flex with the bands where it's like you could do it just for your body. Like you could probably attach it, like sit down on the floor, put your
Like
legs
stand
out,
on the band.
stand on the band. Like you could do
Yeah.
stuff like
Yep.
that, eh? Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. I have some exercise. You can just use your feet, put your feet on the band, and
Yeah,
do
yeah,
it that way. It comes with anchors too, but if you don't have the anchors, if you don't want to take the anchors with you, and of course you're on traveling. If you're with a wrestling team or if you're going to a
exactly.
competition yourself, you don't want to go put anchors in the hotel wall. So you find something that's fixed like a telephone pole. Boom, there you go.
Yeah.
Or you can use your own feet.
Hmm.
So
Also, I'm
very-
curious. I saw an exercise on your channel where you had the neck flex on and you're doing a dumbbell shrug at the same time, right? So, does that mean? Do you believe that shrugs or just trap training in general will aid in building the neck? Like, do you think it all ties in together? That it's beneficial to do direct work? Because even in your TNT DVDs, right, you're doing behind the back shrugs. You're doing it from the front. Like, you're doing a lot of different variations. So, what are your thoughts on shrugs and back work in general for building the neck?
oh, I
Particularly
agree with
upper
you
back
100%.
work
I
too.
think upper back work too.
Yeah, upper
Yeah, I
back work
think
too.
the shrugs tie in great. Traps tie in greatly with your neck. It's all attached, right?
That's right.
So I used to do a lot of heavy shrugging. I still shrug now, but due to that I mentioned you guys in the past that life-changing back injury I had, I'm not training as heavy, but I am on the comeback with that. So I think working traps. My workout was always 5 sets of 20. Back in the video, even the TNT video.
5 sets of 20.
Yep, I would do 495, 5 sets of 20. Once that became easy, I went up to 505, 5 sets of 20, and then I went up. I think I did 585 for 20, but we're not talking. I'm not talking little jerky motion. I mean, I was getting my traps up
Like,
pretty
yeah,
high,
yeah, for sure.
no straps. Just over under grip.
Crazy.
And I did my favorite shrugs were to the front, and then I'd also like doing them to the rear, like they're called Lee Haney shrugs because he originated them.
That's right. And I noticed that you like to do your exercises in an explosive fashion. For the neck, probably because that's how you would do it in wrestling, right? But
Yes.
what about traps? Like, did you find with experience that the slow and controlled thing that a lot of bodybuilders promote was not that effective for building that yoke?
Especially
When
with
I was
strep team.
younger, well, when I was younger, I liked handling heavier weight, going at a fast pace because again, after I got out of the Marine Corps, then when I started competing in judo and submission wrestling, I was 22.
Mhm.
So between 22 and 28, that's when I won my championship. So I fulfilled the potential that the coaches in high school thought I had because I found the Marine Corps straightened out my attitude, and I learned that being humble and being a gentleman was a lot more important than being a knucklehead and acting like you're the man because there's always someone better than you.
Of course.
So to answer your question, what I mean is why I said that is as I've gotten older now, I have tried doing shrugs slower and then let them stretch to really stretch the trap and then come back up and squeeze real hard. They both have their place, but I've never been more sore than when I handle much more weight and go at a fast pace than even going slow.
I see.
People say, the experts or what have you say, it's at the stretch is where you really grow and tear the muscle. I still like training faster. I just have to be more controlled now due to my prior injury.
Yeah.
So I would go fast and heavy then compared to going moderate and nice and slow.
Yeah, and also when you do those fast and heavy like quick reps, when you drop the weight back to the strict reps, it goes up automatically. But if
Yes.
you only do the strict, you're not necessarily gonna have a strong like cheat shrug, You'll probably get
Exactly.
injured if anything, It's like
Exactly.
what you said, you need a variety of both, multitude of different rep ranges, variety of different exercises, like different kind of shrugs,
Well, you mentioned upper back work too.
Yeah.
I used to be a big deadlifter. I love deadlifting, and I pulled some pretty good numbers for a guy at 202, 198 body weight, and that's what I say was one of my best upper back developers was deadlifting.
Mhm.
I always pulled conventional, never really pulled sumo, and you made a comment saying, if you go fast, how much easier the lighter weight feels afterwards, right?
Yes.
Because you say going heavy light. Well, think about that. Think if you ever really heavy deadlifted, how much lighter everything feels to you after doing deadlifts, whether it's bench presses, overhead pressing. You just feel overall stronger, right?
That's true.
So who as an athlete would not want to improve overall power? So via deadlifting. So my exercises for upper back thickness were deadlifts, heavy shrugs, and then plate rows.
Mhm.
Now I haven't shared a video. I'm going to upload it later because I found it off one of my on some archive stuff. But I'm doing bent over plate rows I learned from one of my mentors named Bud Jeffries. And I never did strongman competitions, but Bud was my first mentor, then Dennis Rogers. And so Bud used to do this thing when we were in Florida. He grabbed plates and he put a 25-pound plate on the ground, then he put 45s on top and stack them. He'd hook his arms in because he used to do strongman, like stones, and he'd row the plates. So I just got a video of me rowing 360 pounds, 8 45-pound plates for 10 reps I'm going to load later today. And that really will build your trap and upper back because you're still going, but it's short. But you're still pulling it to your chest.
And it works your grip like crazy too, because you can't really.
Yeah, with your grip, because you can't hook with your thumb. You got to wrap under and use your forearms and biceps trying to balance.
It's a classic lift.
Yeah. So it really worked well. Of course, I always love doing weighted pull-ups and chin-ups.
Yeah. Also, you said that you've rack pulled 1,500 pounds above the knee.
Yes. Yep. That was my best pull.
Yeah. Do you feel that it's contributed a lot, specifically to lockout strength and upper back development? Because I know that's a lot of weight.
Without a doubt, there's no question of that. See, these other, because again, you always have people that want to knock you, but yet they can't walk in your shoes or do what you've done.
Of course.
And it's not that, like I said when we talked earlier, for your website, I've never said I was the best at anything, but numbers don't lie and video doesn't lie. And so I definitely think partials play a huge part in helping with your deadlift. I did deficit deadlifts. That's deficit deadlifts and top rack pulls because I was weak when I got to mid-thigh. Is where I started to get weak at. So by pulling from shortly right above my knees, very lightly above my knees, that helped me at the lockout. And then deficits, I stand on a 100-pound plate and I would pull off there. And I got to doing some heavy weights for me, 600 plus on deficit deadlifts. And I was able to pull my best pull. So the 1,500, there's pictures of that. That was the same day I did the 300-pound neck in Lakeland. The whole video was just trash. Yeah, it's terrible. And we'll never know, but, it's like one of those things you can say what could have been. But I still had more in the tank that day for the 1,500. Bud Jeffries and I both believe I could have pulled 1,800, if not even more.
No way.
But yeah, the 1,500 went easy. It's just, you're never going to know. I'll never be able to try that again. Even though I'm healed, I'm like 90% recovered. I'll never be able to try it. So it's hearsay, but I did have more in the tank.
But you pulled it from mid-thigh, right?
No, lower than that. That's another thing. These guys, I was never the first to do this stuff, but I was the first that really brought recognition to the top pulls like that. Because it was back in 2006, 2007, right? These guys saying they're doing these lifts now, you got to remember, I'm pulling from 24 inches up off the ground. That's where the pin was set at. So you get a tape measure from the floor up. That 24 inches, that's where the pins get placed and the bar goes. So all these cats that are pulling from like mid-thigh, that's not 24 inches. I'm pulling 24 inches.
So you're probably like slightly above the knee, huh?
I'm right at the top of the mid-knee, right in the middle of your knee when you're bent.
Perfect.
Wow.
Yeah, a little bit over the kneecap.
Do you happen to know what the world record is for the rack pull from that height?
No, sir. I'm sure. Well, I can tell you right now. I'm sure the gentleman you had on not long ago, Eric Bugenhagen, could crush it. If not, he hasn't already, but I'm sure he will.
If he really
I don't know what height he's pulling from, but that guy, I've never met him. I have spoken to him. I reached out to him. I'm not big on, I don't talk really, but someone that impresses me, I like to reach out and say, hey, you're amazing. So that guy's strength is out of control. I've never seen a guy pull that much of deadlifting or nothing. So I sent him a message, and he got back. I said, dude, you're out of your mind. Plus, he's young and outweighs me. He's probably, 240 or so, and he's, 26
like
or so.
230. He's like...
Yeah. We were both wrestlers, but he was a much better amateur wrestler than I was. Like I said, my success was much later in submission wrestling, but that guy could crush it, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I know he does a lot of interesting exercises, one of them being the Jefferson deadlift. Now, I know you tried it out in the past, and did you get injured from doing it, like in your hip or oblique?
No. I did, on a Jefferson deadlift, I did crack a rib.
Okay.
But I never got, it was no big deal. That happens. And what it contributed to that, I was twisting I had a personal best for a horseshoe. I twist horseshoes, and that kind of contributed. I was doing some isometrics with a big shoe that I couldn't open. And I think that contributed too, because that's a lot of rotation, that Jefferson pull. But I was nowhere, not even on Eric's planet.
Okay.
Eric was behind the back deadlifting more than I personally pulled from the floor. I mean, the guy's insane.
Yeah, so since we're talking a lot about I'm not saying we train in a similar fashion, but
sure,
we do train neck, we do train traps, we do train upper back like maniacs. You know what I mean?
Well, it's obvious by the way you guys look, you can tell.
And thanks. And Me, I swear by the exercise, the snatch grip high pull. You know, I got it from Christian Thibodeau. You know, if you're watching this, you're awesome. You know, whatever. But I swear by that lift. You know, for
Yep.
building like the yoke. You know, like a lot of
Yeah.
people like for they want to build a big chest. They swear by like the bench. You know, me for building up the yoke, it's snatch grip high pull. I'm doing like a bunch of variations, trying to build it up. You know, I'm trying to hit that 405. You know, right now
Wow.
my best is I did 3 plates for a triple, just that nipple
Yep.
with straps. And
Yep.
I was just curious to know like what's your best if you've
My
ever tried
best.
it.
Yeah, I do it out of. Well, I used to do it out of a rack. It's on my. I got video of that. I'm doing 495, I think. It's right below. I go again. I go at the same place the bar, the same placement as I do on the rack pull.
Hmm.
And I bend, and I come up and pull up here, and I try to get up to right below my nipple line. So
Okay,
I did 315. I think I have video on that of maybe 10, 12 reps. Then I did 405. It's old footage from like 2008, but it's on the channel.
crazy.
Best I did, I think, was 495 or 505.
Wow.
That's insane.
And that's with straps, of course, like you, yeah.
Yeah.
I felt like I do a lot of not Yates rows. I wouldn't really call it that, but it's kind of like a row that just goes from like you're way more upright and you do it from your knee to
Yeah.
like your belly button. I feel like
It's like a
that
hybrid. You know what I mean? Hybrid, you
exactly.
know?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I did
That
it. And that builds the traps upper back huge.
yeah that built my high pull like crazy.
So you young guys, I know you, how old are you guys in your 20s?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
guys like you that will keep your mind open to other guys that have been there. You know, not just myself, but I'm saying, you know, that's what's going to carry on the guys, the training that all of us have done. You know what I mean? Guys like you that aren't going to be able to say, oh, this guy's this and talking a bunch of trash. You know, being nice and listening and applying. That's why you look the way you do. That's why you guys' shoulders and your traps, your neck, you can tell. You know, you're not just some guys out there running your mouth. You know, you practice what you preached. That's a big deal. You know, I respect that.
And also we're not ignorant. You know,
No.
we look for the most unconventional not just because they're unconventional, but we we stayed open to a lot of things and we did what worked. You know,
Yes, yeah.
we knew
It's
that
good.
the key to
It's good to
looking
see.
jacked was having a really big neck. You know, having a
Yeah.
really big yoke. You know.
I have a tree trunk.
The tree trunk, you know, it's like yeah. So speaking of the neck, I have a couple questions that are popular recommendation questions, and also some stuff that I would want to know. You know,
Ask
so
me anything you want.
yeah, if you take okay, so Alpha and I we believe that if you want to get a big neck, you got to get it strong. If you want to get it strong, you have to start creeping and playing in with lower rep ranges. You know, so a lot of people like they recommend like 3 sets of 33. You know, I used to do that in the past. And it's fine, you know, you obviously want to do high reps. You want to do sets of 100, 200 like you. But I do believe that there is a place for singles, triples, you know. What's a good, I have a 4-way neck machine on my gym, you know. And I recently did, it goes up to 6 plates. And I recently did 6 plates for 3 reps, 3 to 5 reps, you know. First 3 were clean, the other 2 were like kind of sloppy.
On a
It's like
four-way neck, plate
4-way
loaded,
neck curl, 4-way neck,
plate loaded,
plate
plate
loaded,
loaded,
plate loaded,
Yeah,
plate
plate
loaded, yeah.
645s.
Yeah.
6 45-pound plates, yeah.
Wow.
But I'm using my whole body. I'm not just I'm holding on to the handles, you know,
Yeah.
I'm using a bit of
You
back.
have to do that. Your lower back or your abs. Yeah, you have to. That's normal.
The machine's moving too, you know.
Yeah.
But it's like, what are some ways to go beyond that? You know, like also like the 2-plate neck curl when you're lying down on the bench. Like, what are some ways to? I'm looking for ways to make it harder. You know, like, do you think I should just start adding bands? Like, get 100-pound plates, or like, you know,
Oh, you could add
for
bands.
low
But
rep
also,
work.
you could also work negatives.
For
If you say
negative,
you were
huh?
doing neck curls, you know what I mean? Like I had to start all over again when I got hurt. So, like right now, my working out weight right now for my neck is 150. So it's 345s, and that's 135, 90,
That's
90 and 45,
135.
135. And then I had 10, 10 fives, 150. I forget, I'm not in my head with the math, you know.
Yeah.
But what I do now is I'll hold the handles, try not to pull with my arms the best I can, and I'll do 20 reps.
Okay.
You see, but then what I do to make it harder, because that's easy for me. So then what I'll do is I'll go down. I'm using neck curls as an example, okay? Because usually I use neck flex, right? So
Yeah.
when I do this, I'll go down and I'll hold.
Yeah, okay.
I try to hold my chin as close to my chest as I can until the weight starts to pull me back.
Smart.
That's
So
what
you
you
get more
can
range
increase.
of motion. Get more range of
Yeah,
motion.
yeah, you can increase the difficulty that way. Because
Smart,
like you
that's
said,
smart.
it's harder when you get so strong and you're playing with 6 wheels on each side. That's crazy.
There's just
So,
one side. There's just one side.
well, I mean, that's what I meant.
You
Yeah,
just yeah.
6 plates on one side. Yeah.
It's not each side. I
It's,
wish. I wish.
no, that'd be pretty cool. Someone invented that. Yeah. But I would. And I would try to keep increasing. You could put bands, like you said, but if you don't want to do negatives, I would try to increase your reps more
And the range of motion.
until it becomes
Not
easy.
try
You know,
actually.
5 sets of 8. You say you want to keep the rep range low, try 5 sets of 8. Once that becomes easy, add 2.5. You know, people are afraid. 2.5 is nothing. That's still a personal best.
That's true.
I used to never do a 2.5 when I was young. Like 2.5. You know, forget that. I'm gonna
In
add
the
10
long
pounds.
run, it's big.
Yeah. Well, you put
Yeah.
2.5 on. Boom. Guess what? You got stronger. Next time, another 2.5. Boom. Now you're up to 5 pounds. Then you go 10. You know, you can always take I just think when you get that much weight on there, I would push the volume, see how much you grow. I
The
would
volume,
try to
yeah.
8 reps, maybe get 10s, try to push it. You won't know until with that much weight. I've never done that much weight in that exercise to see if you imagine if you were doing 5 sets of 50, your neck would have to grow. How could it not? You know?
Yeah.
That'd be crazy.
Right
Don't
now, one of my goals is I'm trying to do the 2 plate 90-pound neck curl, and I'm trying to get 100 reps. You know, on lying neck curl. You know.
Just don't use the beard as a cheat. That might stop you. Someone hit
The
you in the
beard?
chest.
It was bigger before. I had it like.
You'll get it. You'll
Yeah,
get
for sure.
that. Yeah.
So speaking of that, like, are there any like I want you to tell me, are there any like technique tweaks, technique tips to help you neck curl more weight? Like I'm talking like leg drive, talking like lats. Like how do you like?
No.
No?
No leg drive. You cross your feet on the front of the bench so you can't use your legs. Your legs are just braces.
Oh wow. Okay.
So I
So when you
cross.
do it, it's all neck then.
I'm sorry.
When you do it, it's literally all neck.
All
Basically.
neck. Yeah. Because you
Wow.
don't want to. You want to. I cross my legs. So if you're on a bench, you cross your legs. That way, it's going to stop you from moving and sliding everywhere. That way, your lats shouldn't come into play at all. You should just have your hands as handles the best you can, and try to get the center of that plate centered on your forehead,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
And then you work the neck as best you can until you get tired. Then your hands, like I said, unfortunately, they'll subconsciously assist you a little bit, but you don't want to use any leg drive or
Okay.
hands at all.
And
Okay.
I got a good question. A lot of people, they say that it's bad for your discs, like your cervical spine and stuff, if you're doing neck curls and extensions. So what is your take on that? I know you have never gotten injured, but do you believe there's some chiropractic benefits training the neck? Or do you think if you stretch out too much that it could possibly lead to injury?
Well, my chiropractor saved my life with my back. He's one of my best friends. He's almost like a dad to me.
Okay.
I don't, again, who are the people that are saying this? Are these the guys that are textbook savvy that just go read books, but they couldn't carry yours in my gym bag? You know what I mean? These people like this irritate me because, I've never hurt my neck. I don't have any disc problems. My neck is in great shape except for the front, which I think I can't do the bars across the throat anymore because I got too much scarring.
Yeah.
That's not from doing neck work. That's
No.
from bars across my throat.
Yeah, that's from
But
straddling.
I've never hurt the disc in my neck. I've never had a problem except for a zinger, which goes away in a day or two. I think working your neck is beneficial. Now, does that mean you have to go to the extreme like myself or maybe the way you guys are training? It depends on what you're doing, I think if somebody was just training neck for aesthetics, they're going to have less chance of injury, because they're not training for combat.
Yeah.
But I've never had a problem. And I think another thing in at least my chiropractor, excuse me, he does an exercise where they put a harness on your head and he hangs a weight behind you and your head hangs back because a lot of people get the thing where their head goes forward like this.
Yeah.
You see? And that's for bad posture, or I forgot the medical term, but so that's indirectly neck work, right? Pulling your head back so your head's back here and not forward.
Yeah, it's true.
Turtle syndrome,
Turtle syndrome.
So I don't think I guess it depends on the person. People say if you bridge is bad for your neck. People, all that kind of trash. They're always saying something, but I can only speak on experience. I've never had a problem.
Okay.
If anything, it's dangerous if you don't train your neck,
Sorry?
If anything, it's dangerous if you don't train your neck.
Yeah. Well, it's like anything. If you take too much aspirin, it's bad. You drink too much water, it's bad. I mean, anyone that I've ever trained that's followed my programs, I've never had, over all these years now, no one's ever written to me and said, hey, I got hurt doing this. Again, guys, it comes down to common sense. A lot of people don't want to use the brain housing group. They all want to just think they know everything, or they want to go read something online from some jabroni that has never done it.
What's it?
And they can't go search for themselves. I mean, you got to use common sense. some new guys not to go stick 6 wheels on a hamstring like you, or not to go put 300 pounds attached to their head like me, unless they're an idiot.
Stupid, yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna get
You know
hurt.
what I'm saying?
What
Yeah, it
pisses
is
what
what it
pisses
is.
me off the most is when you see like you'll see a lot of neck videos on YouTube, and first off, people don't even know that you could train the neck, you know.
Yeah.
So people don't even know what a trap is, you know, like to the average person in society, you know, they see a video of someone training their neck, and like they're completely mind blown, you know, and they see like people like you or even people like me. I'm not posting neck videos yet, but soon, but like using the faster tempo, you know, and they think like it's so dangerous, and like for sure if you don't have the full body awareness, if you don't have the neck training experience, and you just take a random guy, put him on a bench, make him do fast reps with a plate on his face, it's gonna
Yeah.
be dangerous, you know.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like everybody has to start from somewhere, you know. I feel like you have to get comfortable with like the stricter form first, and then when you're more experienced, like guys like you,
Exactly.
it's like the quote, like you learn how to play the instrument, then you break it, you know. Like you kind of make your own rules after in a way, you know. Like I'm sure you're not getting like, you know what I mean, right? Like
I understand. I understand. Yeah. Yeah. No worries. Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
right. Yeah. You can't just. Everybody's got to start somewhere, and basics always work. I think the best thing to do for anybody, whether you're using a neck flex or you're doing with weight, if you don't have the money to buy a neck flex, do neck curls, do the back of your neck with a harness. If you don't have a harness, you can do isometrics. If people don't have enough money for a harness, they can stick their head, the back of the head against, put a,
Yeah.
you could go against, what do you call it there? Like a leg machine, you know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah,
You can,
the leg curl machine.
something that doesn't move, or like a post, you can sit there and push your head backwards. It's still working your neck indirectly, isometrically. You know, you just got to use your mind and think, but basics always work. Then once you build that foundation, then yes, you can go a little more and just start adding on to that, you know?
Speaking of like the basics and foundation, like I believe that there's the different parts of the neck. I believe that the front of your neck, for aesthetics and looking bigger, that's like the meaty portion of the neck. Do you agree?
Yes.
The front. So I personally I slack on the side. I don't even think I rarely ever train the side. Maybe like once every 3 months or something. You know, when I'm like bored. Like how important is the side of your neck for making your neck look bigger? Is it really gonna make a huge difference in the measurement, or is it really mostly the front and the back?
I think it's the front and the back, because I did not do, like on Phil, on your questionnaire, you know, I didn't really hit the size of my neck. I hit the size of my neck very indirectly when I first started. Never did it
Okay.
regularly. All throughout high school and in the Marine Corps, I always just worked front and rear, and I built a 20-inch neck. I didn't really
That's it.
start playing with sides regularly until after, when I was 22.
hmm
So, and I don't think sides really contributed much to pushing it any more than it already was.
But I feel like yeah, probably it probably doesn't make a huge difference. But for people like trying to get that edge, I guess you might as well hit the sides too. You know,
Yeah, well, why not? Again, especially if you're a fighter or a combat athlete,
Yeah.
football, anything,
definitely.
because
Yeah.
you know, again, you know, you can work the rotation with the neck flex, you can work the sides. Not everybody has access to an $800 hammer strength 4-way neck machine,
That's
right?
true.
So you got to do with what you go with what you have money for. What's at your disposal. Most people can find a weight to do the front and the back, and if they don't have money for a neck harness, they can just lay off a bench,
Manual
the
resistance.
back of their head.
That's true.
Yeah.
But does the rotation like this, does that work the same muscles as the lateral?
Yeah, but it
So
does
the
when you work
muscles-
inside. That's more geared towards if you're going to get hit, or if you're wrestling a guy gives you a smack upside the head. It's just going to help.
Okay.
Football, especially. You know, I never played football because I wrestled, but you know that I think it would be important for football players as well.
Yeah. And I'm curious about bridging, right? Because I know a lot of people, when they start getting into it, they get used to the standard way of performing exercise. So do you have any methods of making it more difficult? Like say putting your feet higher or rolling on your head back and forth?
For the normal back bridge,
For
When you're like
for neck bridge.
wrestler's bridge.
Yeah, for the wrestler's bridge.
Yeah, I pushed that as far as I could. I pushed the envelope. I got a picture of myself doing that with 300 something pounds on my body. I got
Wow.
two guys
Oh, wow.
standing on. They're standing. One guy's on my belly. And one guy's on my arms. One guy's on my hips. And then a lot of guys now also been doing bridges where they press weight up, which is an old time exercise that George Hackenschmidt used to do. I think he made it known.
Crazy, yeah.
And you can get in a bridge, get in a power rack, and you can do your presses while in the bridge.
Eric Buchanan did that. I think he did that with 2 plates, maybe even
Yeah, I've got that on one of my neck DVDs too. And then what I did, which is on my YouTube, is my YouTube channel with a neck flex. You get in a bridge position, put the band in your feet, and you roll and do neck bridges with the band
Oh my god.
attached. So that increases distance every time you push backwards.
That's
It's hard to
incredible.
understand if people don't see the video, but they can go look at that. That's on me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And what do you think about like doing bridging with your feet up in the air, like against the wall?
I've got
Without
video of that too. I loved it. Used to
like
do it all the time.
Mhm.
like
Yep.
do you have to use your hands for support, or can you literally
Yes.
just hang there for your?
I use hands for support. I mean, I could get in a headstand and do that, but I like using my hands because I felt they could stabilize it better and roll back and forth. And again, you get people saying, "Oh, you're gonna mess your neck up." People are always gonna be hating on anybody that
Yeah,
tries
yeah,
things, you know. But yeah, that's one of my more popular videos.
That's crazy.
When I'm on my head doing the bridge. Excuse me.
no problem.
So most guys, even most people trying to get a big neck, they're trying to get a big neck curl, you know, because that's obviously it's the meat and potatoes in neck training. You know, that's just gonna give the most bang for your buck in neck size. That's gonna help your forward head posture and stuff like that. Uh, how important do you think isometrics are for improving your neck curl and improving your neck strength?
I don't think they are.
You don't think they are? Oh yeah.
No, I've done some a little bit, messed around, but and
Okay.
there's some people that are big proponents of that. Again, I can only say what's worked for me, and I never had much success doing that. I contribute all the things I've done with the bars across the throat and hanging myself with the noose and all that stuff. I consider all the stuff I've done is strictly by the basics: neck curls and neck extensions. That's it.
Hmm.
That's crazy.
And I know that other than the neck, you're known for other strength feats as well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like you've done a lot of bending, right? And old time strongman stuff. Like
Yes.
you were mentor Bud Jeffries. I know he was a big influence, as well as Dennis Rogers, correct?
Yes. Yep. They're both two close friends of mine. Bud gave me my start, and Dennis took me, and that's when I really started getting to perform all over the United States and speak at schools, prisons, and churches.
Crazy.
And one guy that played a huge role, he knows this, not too many people do, but before I met Bud Jeffries, Jed Johnson of the Diesel Crew was the person
Yeah.
that got me inspired to want to try to bend a spike in half. Because I saw Jed, I'd followed their videos since 2003, 2002. And I sent an email back then, and we had talked. We never became really boys or anything too much later. We became friends. But I saw him doing this, and he bent it easy. I'm thinking, I could go bend a spike if this guy can. I'm thinking, why not, you know? So
Mhm.
I went to the store and bought the same thing he said to try. I was down in the basement cranking on that thing, bloodied my hands, couldn't even move it. So Jed was actually the one that gave me the inspiration to try that before I became close with Bud and Dennis, and then became where I was in that realm.
Interesting. So, what are some of the feats of strength that you've performed, either live or just on your own time?
Some of the things contribute to neck wise. My signature feat used to be I'd pick up a 200-pound grown man and I'd lift him up and down and rip him, and then I'd swing him back and
I
forth.
saw it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've
Crazy.
got that. So that was my signature feat, and then doing the bar across the throat. I get on my knees, but my arm have a 5/8 piece of steel, and the guy get behind me, bend across my throat.
Wow.
I bent the three quarter round on top of my head
Mm.
twice. I don't do that on a show. That was horrible. That was nasty. But I bent. That's the best I did was three-quarter round, 4 foot long. I twist horseshoes, bend bolts and spikes. Horseshoes. I think I can hold my own with some of the top guys because I think it's important to know that again. You've got to pay respect to those that are better than you, those that have been there before you. Horseshoes. I think I can hold my own. Bending spikes. I'm good. I can bend a grade 8 bolt, but I'm not anywhere near some of these guys. You know, some of these guys are just bending crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But I like twisting horseshoes, and
Mhm.
I have people stand on ladders. They jump off a ladder, land on my stomach with their feet.
Yeah. Speaking of that's the feat of strength that fascinated me and impressed me one of the most. It's just like when you were lying down with
The plate?
you had like a dinner plate on your
Yeah,
on
yeah.
your
The bowling ball.
and the person just dropped the bowling ball, smattered it. Like
Well, see,
how do
that
your
was
lower
the
back
try.
feel after that?
Oh, it hurt like crazy. But Dennis Rogers was the one that started that, and then I'm one of his top students. So he said, Mike, I want you to start doing this. I would have never done that if he didn't give me his okay. See, in that kind of performing strongman world, it's a small world. So there's so many signature feats, but for your own brand, you have to be unique. You have to have something that's unique to you. That's where I came up with the neck lift of people. And the bars, I wasn't the first to do bars across the throat. There was a picture of a man back, I think, in the 1900s, early 1900s, with a bar, and he's in a chair.
Mm.
But I have been told that I have done more for the neck training in the mainstream, in our time,
Yeah.
and I tried my best to be a good representative of it. But you got to try to have a spin that makes you unique, So I would never have taken Dennis's feet unless he gave me his blessing, So I got that from him.
Yeah.
He used to do it in shows, and I started doing it. It hurts like crazy.
And I know a lot of these guys are really into forearm training, right?
Yes.
So do you feel like since you started embarking in their training style that your forearms got a lot bigger? Like I know you did sledgehammer levering, lots of these bending movements. Like what do you think that has in terms of forearm development, grip strength, stuff like that?
Oh, it's huge. When I noticed, for instance, I went to get therapy on my back. I'm going to get a tissue massage the other day. I hadn't seen this girl in a while that does it. And so I've just been seeing my chiropractor. Well, I hadn't been bending in a while. So first thing she says, Mike, you look fantastic. She goes, you must not be bending anymore. I said, why? She goes, your forearms are small. I'm thinking I look pretty good at 42. I'm like, I'm 212, 206. I'm like, I'm got abs, and she's knocking my forearms,
Huh.
So when you do bend, I don't know how much size you get, but you're definitely more cut and harder for sure, for me. Again, like I told you guys in your questionnaire, Phil, if you only have so much muscle or your frame, you have to increase your calories in order to get bigger. You're only going to get so
Yeah,
big.
definitely. I preach that all the time.
Unless you're not a natural guy and you pop in some syringe in your rear end or something, that's a different story. Teach their own, But when I twist horseshoes, when I do levering, yeah, my forearms definitely get stronger. But I don't know about size. I think, again, it depends on how much you're taking in for calories and what your training routine is like.
And do you have any experience with gripper training?
No, I do not. I don't think that has any carryover at all to bending.
Okay. But
Because I've seen guys that are great benders, but they can't close on number 3. And I've seen guys that can close, number 4s or number 3s, but they can't bend that well. So I don't think the carryover is good.
what about using like thick-handled barbells, like 2 inches, 3 inches, axles, rolling thunders? Do you have any
Yes.
experience? Like,
Yeah. I have a 55-pound, what is it, SQ bar from Iron Mind. And I like to use that when I'm doing shrugs or even lockouts, which I don't do anymore, but I'm shrugging again because I think, obviously, if you have a thicker circumference, get your hand around, it's only going to increase your finger strength when you grip. Now, I don't know how this is going to help. It does help me with twisting horseshoes because horseshoe you have to really squeeze hard, when you pull. But as far as bending goes, I don't think it has carryover. I could be wrong. I'm not an expert in that. This guy's better than me, but I don't think it does.
Because I want to talk about this this myth. I don't know if it's a myth. I don't know if it's true. It might be true, but a lot of people on the internet say that neck training helps you get a deeper voice. What's your take on that?
I don't think so at all. I got a deep voice from yelling in the Marine Corps. That's like, I don't think there's anything. If that's the
People
case,
say like it affects your vocal cords or whatever.
If that was the case, I'll be talking like Vin Diesel. My wife would be going wild all the time every time I said hello, honey, how you doing?
Yeah.
So I think that's
Probably bullshit. Yeah.
that's messed. Yeah, that's no significance.
No significance, huh? Let's talk a bit of jaw training. Like I think I saw some videos. I'm not sure if it was you. Don't quote me, but where you had like towels in your mouth, hanging weights, and doing neck. It might have been. Might have been someone else.
No, I got
Steve
stuff on my channel.
Steve Pulcinella or whatever his name is.
Pulcinella's a good guy. I know him. Very nice person.
Just got a Q&A with him on my site. You can check that out if you want. But he does neck work like that too,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He complimented me on my neck when we first met. He's like, machine. And I was looking at him. I'm like, his head's the size of my neck,
His neck's ridiculous. He's
a big dude.
He doesn't even have a neck. It's just like
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. His head or his neck. I think it's one piece. But he's a nice
It's not even
person.
a part of his body anymore. It's like just like
No.
one less body part to worry about,
I told him he was my bodyguard. That's what I told him.
It's crazy.
But yeah, I have stuff on there. I'm holding. I would do some jaw work. I started doing jaw work with from the late great Greg Matonic. He used to hold horseshoes in his jaw. He's no longer with us, unfortunately. He twists quarters and he twists a horseshoe in his jaw. And he's big cheeks like a bulldog. And so I'd never done any jaw work until after I met him. I met him at Dennis Rogers' first Strongman University. I was a guest to help teach as well as a student. And so I have some interesting things with the neck flex where you can hold the band in your mouth and twist. Do different things like that. Anything because the main reason I did that is not only it takes your head out a little bit because you don't have the strap around your head, but also for guys that have mouthpieces when they box or MMA, any of that kind of stuff, be able to grip down, bite down, keep your jaw closed. Because you have an open jaw and you get jacked in the jaw, you're going to break your jaw. If you have your mouth nice and tight, So
Yeah, yeah.
I've done quite a bit with that, holding bands in my mouth.
That's,
Yep.
yeah. What do you think about people who say that it's not good for your teeth to be putting stuff in your mouth and training your neck? Like it might change the like the alignment of the teeth.
Your lineman.
I think
I've
it
never
depends
had
on
a
the
problem with
sport.
that. Yeah, I like my teeth. I don't want to have my teeth messed up. I've got all of them, but I've never had a problem. I mean, again, it all depends on the person. If you have bad teeth, don't brush your teeth, and you're nasty, well, then yeah, you can have problems. You brush your teeth, take care of your mouth, then I've never had a problem. You guys must think the same thing. Some of these things these people come up with are
Yeah,
just
it's
like
ridiculous.
whatever.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
Go
really,
go back and play your video games. Go run into a wall or something. Knock yourself out.
like the movements may look stupid, they may look like to people who are like misinformed, but it really depends on the sport. Like if you check out I had a Q&A with one of the top food eating competitors on the planet. He has over 30 world records. He kills a watermelon, milk, all the events, and like I think he was pretty big on jaw training too.
Yeah.
Just like
Well, look at some of the top fighters, like Timothy Bradley, boxing, right? Welterweight champion. He'd lay in a push-up stance he'd lay in a plank with his hands behind his back, lay on his chin, and open and close his mouth. I've never done it. I think it would break your jaw. I don't know if I could do it, but he lays in a plank, hands behind his back, and opens and closes his mouth.
Hmm.
Think about that. Think about how strong your jaw has to be. I would think if he slipped up and his jaw went the wrong way, you're gonna break it. But some people think what I've done is crazy. I look at that exercise, I'm like, I've never done that.
That's true.
Yeah.
I have a funny question. So like a lot of people like they want to be like the world's fastest man. They want to just be the fastest. They want to be the quickest. What motivated you to want to become one of the strongest with like certain feats of strength? Is there anything in particular?
I don't know. Number one, I think that's a good question. I don't think it's funny. I never looked at it like that. Like I'm blunt. I'm pretty boring. But I never claimed to be the best. I just trained real hard. I love to train. I came from most of my whole motivation is I came from a very terrible childhood, which is what I speak about if I go to somewhere new. I came from a really bad childhood, and I was in and out of counseling, and from the age of 7 up to 13 years old. It was very, very dark, and most people that go through what I went through end up either getting addicted to drugs or alcohol, or they try to take their life, or they blame everybody else and they get put in jail. So the gym was my safe house. The gym and training saved me.
Hmm.
I wasn't a Christian at the time. I wasn't following Jesus as my savior or anything, but the gym was my blessing. That was my church. And so that drive to build myself up, I just wanted to build armor for me so that I wouldn't have to face the things I faced at home. And over that time, that drive, at times it hurt me, like I said, in high school because I had an attitude problem. But after I got out, I graduated honor grad at Paris Island Marine Corps. Then I became a successful wrestling champion. And even now at my age, I'm blessed to have my own private gym. I have 83 members, just clients, and they all like, man, coach, how the heck do you train by yourself at 5 in the morning and look the way you do? To some people, they think I look good. Hey, that's good. I train my tail off. I don't think I look 42. I mean, I
Yeah,
got
you look great,
You
man.
look good.
I got a six pack. I don't, whatever. That drive though, to not want to be a failure and to not want to be like the people that were in my life, my mom, my biological father, and my mom's second husband, my stepdad. That's what motivated me. So I never went out to be the best and said, well, I'm going to be the best at this. I just kept pushing because I had so much anger and sadness inside me that I tried to literally push myself in the gym to the point of just exhaustion because it just made me feel better. It was like a euphoric state for me. And yeah, and I contributed to helping me be the man that I've become and never being in any kind of trouble or anything like that. And I just try to walk the walk, and then I can back up anything I say physically, and I just think over time I realized in most gyms that wow, people would stop and watch me train, and I thought, well, that's cool, and I know some people weren't doing things I was doing, and like I said, ended up some people, Bud Jeffries recognized me, and I sent a video and said like, man, you are one strong son of a gun for a guy your weight, and then it kind of just snowballed from there. And like I said, anytime people get any kind of inspiration from something I've done, that's just only more topping on the cake for me because I was this kid that was beaten not fed and in and out of counseling, looking at ink spots. Who would have thought that as an adult I'd have the success I did as a Marine and then as a wrestler and then in the strength industry? So it's very humbling. So I'm always open to anyone who wants to talk, and if I can help somebody, then I'm good to go.
Yeah, it's very inspirational.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Kind of a long answer, but I had to cover a lot.
I don't even remember the question anymore, but it was inspirational.
Yeah, it was good.
So are you a trainer? My bad.
No, I was gonna ask about his gym because I know
Me too,
you've
yeah.
had like what 3 different gyms now, and you've constantly been upgrading and working on improving.
Yeah, I've expanded 4 times now in 8 years. Next May will be 9 years in business.
That's great.
It's insane.
Yeah, it's a blessing. We live in a little small area of Kentucky, and there's gyms popping up everywhere, but I'm the only private gym in town. What that means is I won't take just anybody. I'm very selective. It's like the Marine Corps,
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, the reason I do that doesn't matter I don't care about color, I don't care where you come from, I don't care how much money you have. The reason I do that is because I don't want shenanigans and drama, and I don't ever want to have to be ugly with any of my members. I just want to come in, have people want to work, want to change their life and train, have a good time. And if I have to deal with someone acting like a tough guy or a girl acting like just not in a way I want to be around someone like that, then I don't take them.
Yeah, your environment really is everything. I believe that you are a product of your environment.
Yeah, well,
Not surrounded by anybody. It's just like.
Well, I'm blessed to have a really strong wife. She's a real good girl. We've been together almost 10 years, and she's made me a better man. And I've got a lot of women of all different shapes and sizes, and I've got guys of all shapes and sizes. We just don't have time for. I don't care. I don't want to hear how tough you are, who you were, what you did. It doesn't impress me. I've been around too long. I get careless. I just want to help people. So therefore, by being selective, I make it so I go to my gym every day, and I'm always happy, looking forward to going. I don't want to deal with any more, like I said, where I have to be ugly and kick somebody out.
That's great.
No, you're humble. You're a humble guy.
Yep.
I respect that.
I got nothing to brag about, so I just like I said, I like giving props, man. When you see someone that's doing something, you got to give him props. Reach out to him, say, hey, man, you're impressive. Like I did with Eric. I never met the guy from a hole in the wall, but I thought, man, this dude. I called my wife and I was like, Shelly, you got to come look at this guy. And I went and worked out. Some of Eric's videos inspired me to go work out. So it's like your channel. I heard about you, Alpha, long before you guys had contacted me. I seen your channel. I said, man, you look like a shorter guy. I don't mean that disrespect.
No. I'm
I was
5'5".
like, this little dude's working his neck. Look at this guy. He looks pretty dang good. And then when you contacted me, I was like, wait a second. I know who this guy is. So I had no idea, though, you had mentioned my name in videos. I didn't know that. And I appreciate the fact that, you use some of my methods.
Well, yeah, I've seen a lot of your work. I was very impressed by your feats of strength, the things that you've done for your upper back, your traps, your neck. Like I learned a lot. And
good.
And I use some of those teachings to help some of my clients, and it's just a positive circle of energy. Everyone's benefiting from it. And my objective is to get people training their neck more and more. Because it's the most underrated muscle group. Like I see a lot of guys training their forearms and their calves and their chest, their biceps, everything, but no one trains the neck. And to me, it's insane because there's so many benefits to doing that. Aesthetics, injury prevention, and I just want to get it out there. And definitely you were a huge inspiration in that.
Oh, I'm flattered by that. Yeah, I agree with you. Neck is still, especially with concussions. I'd like to see, of course, football players and wrestlers work their neck, but I just think it. Even aesthetics, it looks good. You have a good shoulder, big shoulder girdle and a V taper.
Yeah,
but you got a little pencil neck. Even if you just worked it to equal out the physique, I don't even know how many bodybuilders actually really work their neck.
They don't.
There was one in the fifth in like the
Jeff King.
Jeff King, yeah. But
it's huge.
I'm not gonna lie, like the way that I found out about neck training was actually from Jason Frugia. Like a couple years ago, I read his article, and I think he found out about neck training from Jim Wendler.
Yep.
He's also awesome, Jim. He trains his neck hard, whatever. And but then as I started typing neck training on YouTube, saw most of it was you, So I'm like, that's how I discovered you.
Okay.
Told Alpha, he was going crazy too, We're both like watching it. We're just like, wow, check this guy,
Yeah.
Took some of your training methods and where am I going with this?
No, it's.
Yeah. Where am I trying to go with this shit?
No, I think you said what you had to say, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. Basically, yeah. So then it had me wondering, like I always thought in my head, like when I was like, because when I started working out, I was probably like 150, 145. ectomorph, really lanky guy, you know. And I always, throughout the years, I'd always be thinking like, what would be that one muscle that I could develop that'll make me look a million times bigger, you know? And
Hmm.
like I went through trial and error with a bunch, you know. I thought everybody at one point thinks it's the arms because they're so glorified in like, you know, movies. You know, you see like Arnold flexing or whatever, you know. And like obviously it's not the case, you know, because when you look at someone like up close, you have to understand like your peripheral vision is gonna like with the world we live in, we look at people in the face, you know.
Yeah, that's why you
So
have good teeth, man. We talked about teeth earlier. You have good teeth when you smile, right?
That's right.
Remember?
yeah, I
Yeah.
remember I was watching an MMA fight, you know, and like on TV, like and these were the lightweight classes. These were guys who were like 150, you know. But I didn't know that. But I was just watching like I was just like moving my head, watching the screen. I'm like, wow, these guys are like what 250, you know? Because like the camera would always zoom into them, and you just see this huge yoke, you know. And then later on, before the commercial, it said this was the lightweight class, you know. So these guys are 150. I'm like, wow. So just because of this guy's neck, he probably looked up like up to 100 pounds bigger than he actually was, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Traps and neck. That's the first thing you'll notice. Even the sweatshirts on. You can hide a
Yeah.
big arm, you know, but your neck and traps, you always see that no matter what.
So it just goes to show you could literally be small all over, like some of these
Yeah.
MMA guys have a big neck, and you're gonna look big. You're gonna look rough. You
Yep.
know, you wear a t-shirt, it's gonna like be tight around. It's gonna be snug around the neck. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Very.
crazy. Yeah, I actually have an article. You could check it out on. I think it's called like how neck training makes a difference, and I found a lot of pictures, like all the pictures I could find of like people who photoshopped a pencil neck versus a thick neck, and like it's ridiculous. Like it looks
Yeah, I
like.
was checking your site out. It's got a lot of good information.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're almost done
So
there, but
yeah. Anyhow, so anyway, Mike, it was a great pleasure to talk to you today. Um, if there's people who want to reach you, what would be the best way of doing this?
You can reach me at MikeTheMachine.com. That's still the site's being updated. Or you can reach me at my YouTube, Mike the Machine Bruce, Machine Land TV. I always reply to everybody, and it might take me a little while. Depends on if I'm at my gym, what have you. I always try to respond to somebody within that day. And Facebook's just Mike Bruce. I don't like Facebook too much, but I use it for my business. But any one of the three would work.
you don't have Instagram, I noticed, huh?
No, see, when I don't like social media that much. I mean, when I got hurt, I wasn't taking any interviews or anything for like a year. I
Okay,
had,
okay,
after that injury, I had like two mental breakdowns, so I was turning away a lot of people. I don't want to
okay,
talk.
okay.
So the best way I would say is through the YouTube channel or MikeTheMachine.com.
Excellent.
Either one.
Hmm.
All right, so I think that about wraps it up. Thank you
All
for your
right.
time. It is much appreciated. I think the viewers are going to love it, and they'll definitely check you out and learn more about neck training and all the stuff you talked about, and of course, be inspired.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys, and anytime you have questions, I'd be glad to help. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it was
Excellent.
definitely an honor to have you on. Like, hands down, one of the most underrated channels, you know,
Very,
Oh,
very
in my
humble,
opinion, you know.
very informative, and everyone appreciates it.
thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
All right, you
We'll
gents have a
stay in
good day.
touch.
You too. Have a
All
great
right,
one.
guys.
Take care.
Ciao. Thank you.
Take care.